one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Yeah. If Chappelle moved to Ghana to find his peace, then I'm rolling where the service always roaming. I'm packing my bags and going. It's a challenging act, it's a balancing act. Visit beautiful places, it's more out here than the trap. Houses in Long Island, they always found him. House in the South, a nigga barely got out. Sunny LA, remember calls with Dr. Dre. He told me, don't let the palm trees fool you, nigga, be safe. Me and my higher self, we often would speak. Somehow we lost the connection, might meet a Joshua tree. And it's been bothering me. Too many wavy women, gotta log out of IG. Can't be my age DMing, no kidding. It's hard to move like a civilian. I write the truth cause I live it, not like you musical niggas. We did it big and they bigots. They rather shoot than write tickets. What it feel like to go get it, what it feel like to go miss it. In one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody. My dog bought a plane, said let's go to Paris. That's where baguettes are from, French bread that's long and narrow. I like the other definition, rectangular carrots. The concept of the song is rather esoteric. This girl said in Grenada we should go get married. Broke the meaning down of the Virgin Mary. And you got your own place. My favorite part of the night when you text me that you made it home safe. I'm contemplating at the home base how I'm used to breakfast in the ghetto sipping OJ. That's a picture right there, a moment in time. Before anybody wanted a photo of mine. Before the internet energy and social decline destroyed the vibe, fooling us with the headlines, keeping us blind. Vultures eat you alive. Take heed to the signs. Wishing I find one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody.
All my time is spent focused on my freedom now. Why would I join them when I know that I could beat them now? They put their words on me and they can eat them now. That's probably why they keep on telling me I'm needed now. They tried to box me out while taking what they want from me. I spent too many years living too uncomfortably, making room for people who didn't like the labor but wanted the spoils, greedy, selfish behavior. Now let me give it to you balanced and with clarity. I don't need to turn myself into a parody. I don't do the shit you do for popularity. They clearly didn't understand when I said I get out apparently. My awareness like Keanu in the Matrix. I'm saving souls and y'all complaining about my lateness. Now it's illegal for someone to walk in greatness. They want the same, but they don't take risks. Now the world will get to see its own reflection, and the anointed can pursue their own direction. And if you're wrong and you're too proud to hear correction, walk into the hole you dug yourself, fuck a projection. See me in my freedom taking all my land back. They said a lot against me thinking I just stand back. I got my legs beneath me, I got my hands back. A lot of people sabotaged, they couldn't stand that. I turned the other cheek, I took blow after blow. There's so much crisis in the world cause you reap what you sow. When you keep what you know is meant for someone else, did you dig for them, you might just end up in yourself. I'm in the secret place, I keep a sacred space. They keep showing their hands, but keep hiding their face. If I'm a messenger, you block me, then you block the message. So aggressive, the world you made is what you're left with. Pride and ego over love and truth is fuck reckless. Y'all niggas got a death wish, the stupid leaves me breathless.
Some place to be. Yeah. Ain't ducking nothing. Just might have to build my own city where y'all need a real nigga passport to enter. Miss Hill, we ain't going nowhere. They gonna have to deal with us. Make them uncomfortable. Yeah.
Oh, that didn't go by nearly as flawless as I thought it would. That's something. Let's see here. Yeah, absolutely. Big ups to Mighty D. What's up, Michael? All right, so how do we start this? I guess hello, first off and foremost, being that I haven't been on this in a while, so a lot of people will get a chance to see it on the VOD later on down the line. In any case, 3 streams? No, it should be only 2. Oh well, yeah, the first one did kind of drop. So yeah, I guess it is 3. I guess it did kind of drop. But what's going on? Yet again, guys, just kind of saying hello because I haven't seen you guys in a hot minute, and I was able to do a short stream, or at least short, I guess, as it pertains to my methods, I suppose, earlier today. So I thought I'd jump on here really fast before DSP starts his stream. Can't wait to hear what he has to say about his day off and whatnot. Had a chance to watch him cut his finger open or something like that. So and he's crying about it on Twitter and on Instagram, which is a really petty thing to do given the situation. What's up, guys? Any update on Review Tech USA's release? Do you mean that 3-parter that I was working on before? Because I can eventually put the VODs up for that. I'm not sure if I'll throw up the other 3 that has my commentary over it. I'm not sure yet, but I will mirror the first 3 though, certainly. And that, I think I got like 2 or 3 other videos that need to kind of go up too for mirroring purposes. So that's something you can look out for if that's what you're referring to. To say the very least. To say the very least. All right, so the kind of the point of all this. One, just kind of saying hello to everybody. I haven't seen you guys in a while. Big ups to you. As it pertains to what we do over here on the second channel, also known as the Fight Club channel, it's really just kind of going over DSP lore. I hope to pick up where I left off, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know how he cut his hoof open like that. I really don't know how he cut his hoof open like that. That was kind of funny. But I'm hoping to pick up where we left off, going through with the lore, some deep dives or whatnot, checking out some of his FGC stuff, because that was something that I had made a lot of plans to go over, some of his older stuff. So we'll be doing that here. It's kind of a mixed bag. I've been streaming on a 3rd channel since like June, I think, and I had a good time with that. So it'll be a combination of like videos and streaming over here, more or less. But I will continue to stream on that 3rd channel because I enjoy doing it. But I miss videos. I miss videos a lot, to be honest with you. So that's something that we can look forward to moving forward. I do have some requests that you guys had made a few months back or so. I may live stream a few of them, or we may we may live stream a few of those, or I will record them, maybe a little bit of both. That should be fun. And then I also would like to go back and look at some older detractor content, not super old like 2015 stuff, but more like when I kind of like first started getting into the game, and some of the people who I guess my class, if you will, of detractors at that time, going back and looking through some of their stuff, which should be kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it. There is Mighty D, who showed up on the first stream, so we'll go back and look at some gems that they have. Memology 101. I'd like to go and pick up some stuff from like Volt Boy and what he was doing back during that time period. Should be that's my depression. So we'll go back and look at some of that stuff. I think it'll be fun, and should be a kind of a cool way to kind of go back and see what the situation is, given where we came from to where we're at now. Which leads to another question. Yeah, I'm not sure why notifications pop up. I mean, like I said, though, too, there's always the VOD later on down the line, to be honest with you. I could always, I could also ask someone to, like, put up a post or something like that before I go live. We'll see. It's not that big of a deal, to be honest with you. If you miss a little bit of it, you miss a little bit. I'm just talking at the moment, so it's no big deal. And I've never streamed over here before, so that may or may not have anything to do with it. I'm not sure. So that's a thing. But I do actually have a bit of a question, given what some of you who were here, we were talking about earlier. I was thinking, like when you really kind of look at it in perspective of all of the new content creators that have kind of come into this over the past, I'd say the past year or so, to be honest with you, I guess it'd be kind of interesting to ask, chat, What do you guys think about your new generation of detractors? Your like Red's in there now, super crazy. Sunspot Gallery, even though he's kind of stepped away from it a little bit. Ann Lee, shit. Who else do we got? Blooper World Order. I mean, damn, you guys got a lot. You got a lot of people now that I think about it. Raven Dolphin, Brittany Gates. Even though, I mean, I saw that she has a video up today. So theoretically, she's still picking her spots. What are your thoughts on current detractors? Like, I guess for some of you guys, like, what's your feeling on that? On the natural progression, if you will, of this detractor movement. Yeah, I didn't name Proper. Proper's an OG. He actually came up. He came up around my time period, maybe a little bit afterwards. Yeah, I think they're doing good work too. I agree. Oh, Piece to Piece. I forgot about that too. I'm sure if something interesting pops up, Tevin will jump back in. Same thing with LSB. I'm sure if he'll come back in if he feels that there's something worthwhile. But LSB's VTubing has been going really, really well. And then obviously Tevin's his movement on Twitch is doing extremely well too. I think the clips is what make them. I think the clips is what makes Snortbucks unique. In a lot of ways. Yeah, I think you're right. Bacon sweats. I said bacon grease on the last stream. My fault for that. But I'm gonna actually take that name now. I'm gonna take bacon grease because now I got ideas. But I think bacon sweats was definitely. I think Bacon Sweats, to have a video that was dedicated solely to Phil's begging and the segments of that begging throughout a night, yeah, I think it may have been very revolutionary, to be honest with you. And so I can understand the toll that it may have taken on Sunspot. I can absolutely see it. Yeah, I agree. Like, because of how Sunspot set it up. It was really genius when you think about it. And it's tedious too. It's super fucking tedious to do what he did, and which is what makes it. I think is the reason why people appreciate it as much as they do. You can say the same thing for Super Crazy too, man. Like that's a lot of you gotta to compile what he puts together in his videos. Man, requires a lot. It requires a lot. Whatever happened to Gout Police? Goji, I don't know, to be honest with you. They came in, they said what they said, and then they kind of just stopped. They kind of just stopped. Which happens a lot, actually. If you go back to, well, I'll name them as we go along. That's what the whole point of this channel. There's some older detractor stuff too, man. The channels that came in had a good run, and then they bowed out. They kind of just stopped. Yes, we're gonna. Actually, I saw the Ann Lee rendition of it. I say rendition because since so many people have done it, and I saw David Davison's. You just decided to go on some more? Yeah, Ring. I said in the first stream I was gonna come over here and say what's up. I definitely said I was going to. So I made good on my word, for whatever that's worth. Yeah, since Gunslingers come back. Absolutely. Like I said, he has I posted it in one of the other streams where he's giving basically a free he's giving free mentorship to anybody who wants to get into content creation. It might be something worthwhile. Will you ever go over the escort saga? Oh, never mind. My bad. That wasn't even posed to me. My fault. At least I don't think so. I don't think that was posed to me anyway. I think getting burnt out is something that everybody kind of deals with. That's what happened to Base Oslo. I miss watching Base Oslo stuff too, because that dude is hilarious. But like I said, that shit requires a lot though. I consider Base Oslo an OG as well. Like I said, Base Oslo was fucking hilarious, dude. Shit. Oh, my fault. My fault, Phil. Yes, I do plan to go over the Escort saga. I most certainly do. I've got like 15 videos compiled for it. Because I have to. The thing is with that, actually, since you brought that up, my initial theory for anybody who's been listening to me for any period of time is that Catherine must have came into the picture early 2017. Now, as you guys know, our first and only interaction between DSP and Catherine wasn't until like June or July 1st of 2017. It was on Twitter over OBS. But I feel like there was contact between them before that. I'm making the assumption that it was as early as January or February of 2017. So that's essentially what has been my starting point. So we'll have to wait and see though, given the whole situation. But and then there's so much stuff that's kind of linked into that too. It's just it's silly. Him holding the Escort saga over our head doesn't mean jack shit. Like I understand that people are like, oh well, it wasn't an escort, right? He was flying out a woman who was living with her boyfriend from the state that she lived in to his home, and he did it multiple times. And Catherine wasn't spending her money to do that. Phil was paying for it. The only difference is, realistically, is it was an escort. Or that she's not an escort, sorry. That's the only thing. But then you have the catfishing empire that Brenda and her husband was doing. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could make the argument that is like, oh, well, isn't that pushing the goalpost back? But it isn't. We admit that there was no escort. Well, that Catherine wasn't the escort. You have this catfishing empire going on, though, which brings up a lot of interesting questions. And I'm of the theory, as I was back then, that they may have gotten some money out of Phil. I can't prove it clearly, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That whole escort saga was fucking silly. It's absolutely silly. Do I think Catherine's still there? I think so. I think we just don't see her. But then again, or what's that? Are you talking about the selfie that he took? Wait a second. Well, here, let me jump ahead a little bit, or jump back a little bit. Do I think Catherine's still there? Yes. There's some problems with that, though, at least for me. She's not streaming. She's not making videos. So she just sits in her room and plays video games all day, and that's it. She's not cooking, clearly. It doesn't seem like she's doing much cleaning. We found that out with Jasper and his urinary tract infection. So what do you do there? How do you, like, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. But I believe she's still there, to be honest. If she's not, we'll find out eventually. Possibly. I still firmly believe that I still firmly believe they got some money out of Phil. It couldn't have been, let's say it was $2,000. Let's say it was $3,000. They did get some money out of him. I don't know if we'll ever really know, but clearly they may have gotten something out of him. And that's why as someone actually just brought it up, when Kiwi Farms revealed it, I think Kiwi Farms was always kind of on the fence about it either which way. But by choosing to kind of follow up on the Escort saga, it worked out. Because look at everything else we found. The thing that actually kind of throws me for a loop, to be honest, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, is you guys remember Medicare's catfishing video that came out and it kind of cleared up the whole story and whatnot? Here's my thing. How did no one see that post? Now, I'm like, and that includes myself, because I'm pretty sure I was following Medicare's account on Twitter at that time. At least I think so. Because I think my first account was on Twitter in like November of that year. Maybe October. But I'm just really of 2017. I mean, I'm surprised that no one saw the Medicare post. It kind of throws me for a loop that happened. Because he kind of did lay it all out on Twitter, and nothing. And like I said, it's kind of weird how that just kind of flew past us. It really kind of throws me off. How's it going, Raven? So I always found that to be. I always found that to be weird how that happened. I found it weird to be that would happen. I think the escort saga, for whatever it was worth, though, was probably one of the most interesting facets of the Darksydephil story. I think that still, even to this day, I still think that's ranked as one of the most entertaining times in DSP content. It's definitely in my top 2 for sure. It's definitely in my top 2. Do I think Catherine's still putting out? No. No, I don't. Like I said, they're just roommates. They were always roommates. And at best, maybe DSP wanted it to be real and it didn't work out. For whatever reason. I mean, she was nothing more than just a shield, a beard, whatever you want to call it. You could clearly tell there was no love there. It was supposed to be mutually beneficial. I was watching another video, actually, or I had it playing in the background, where Phil talks about how it was basically the detractors' fault, the trolls, the haters, and the critics' fault that we didn't get more of Catherine on streams and whatnot. They fucked it all up. They ruined it. But when you look at it, if you go back and you listen to some of his pre-streams, he lied. Well, that's what he does. But he was trying really, really hard to force her down everybody's throat. You know what I mean? The cooking with him and Kat. He was trying to do that as a sub goal or some type of thing. It didn't work because they didn't want Catherine to get exposed. That's what it was. And he went about it wrong. He just overall went about it wrong. And I think that's the thing that fucks him over to this day, because he had her quit all of her social media and everything, yeah? Then she moves in. Then he tries to shove her down the fan base's throat through him, with her being through the median, right, or the platform only being his, right, cutting her off from everything else, and he didn't do anything with it. He really just didn't do anything with it. He tries so hard to try to make it seem like a relationship that it came across even more awkward. And then she doesn't talk. She doesn't say nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was almost like she felt, I don't say scared, but she certainly didn't feel comfortable enough to come out and say what she felt that she needed to say. So that kind of ruins it, I think. What was the other? Oh, when him and Panda broke up. Like when he exposed what her condition was, and then just watching him fucking self-destruct for all those months after they broke up. And as it pertains to that particular arc, there's so many other things that's added to it. Like, for example, the situation with War Dog Leader, right? The situation with Mort. There's a bunch of different things that kind of flow into that whole arc, or that saga, if you will, as a whole. And when that was extremely, extremely entertaining to watch, to be honest with you. That was extremely entertaining to watch. The John and Howard situation, that's a really slow burn, because it's really just him talking a lot of shit because he couldn't get John to do what he wanted. And then John and Howard got tired of biting their tongue, basically, and they went at him. They went right for his fucking nuts. And he's never recovered. And I think that's really what it was. That's funny. I think he cares more about John. I think he's more broken up about John than he ever was about Panda, to be honest. Because I think he looks at John as the one person who accepted him at face value for who he is. And because John put up with a lot of bullshit. Even with the money, I think John knew he was getting beat out, but he was like, all right, it's no problem. You know, because John looks at, I guarantee you, John looks at it as, hey, I still have a job. I'm still doing all right. And this is what he does for a living. So be it. The problem is there was no separation between the friendship and the money or the job or whatever you want to call it. Phil wanted to bring them both together. And in turn, they're not your friends anymore. You've turned them into co-workers. You know what I mean? Or you just turned them into employees, which is a step down. And that's when things got fucked up. Well, when he said recently that John's number changed, but his number is still the same, and you guys remember that was only like a week or two ago, and that only further reinforces that the WWE account is his through the application. Sorry, I can't think of what the name of the app is, but through that app, it only reinforces that it's actually Phil and it's actually his number and everything like that. Yeah, Phil's still definitely hurt by that. He's definitely hurt by that shit. But all he had to do was pick up the phone and talk to him. Stop sending all those drunk text messages and just pick up and talk to him. And he never got around to doing it. I still believe Phil's hiding the payment information from John. I think honestly, I know he wasn't cutting line app. Thank you, Red. Yeah, Phil was definitely not cutting that money right. Because if you guys remember the story, he's like, the first, I think John said it was like 6 months, 8 months, maybe it was a year. The money was right. You know what I'm saying? The money was, he said that he was cutting the money and whatnot, and he was getting the invoices, and that's how he cut the money up. I don't know if John ever saw those invoices. But then it's interesting how all of a sudden the invoices just stopped. And Phil said, and I quote, "They stopped sending me an invoice." Well, why didn't you just request one? Why didn't you just request one? You could have done that. And what does that invoice actually need to tell him? Like, Phil, you know how much content you put up, you know what I'm saying, with you and John on it, and you know what days or what weeks even that you put it up. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to go back and dice it up and figure out what's what. You know what I mean? Phil said, like John says Phil said he was paying him 50-50. Phil says he was paying him handsomely. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? Excuse me a second. So either you were giving, like, were you really paying? So I don't think he was paying John on the up and up. I think he was screwing John over, or he was beating John out. Certainly. And to even reinforce that, think about how when Phil couldn't get the invoices anymore, allegedly, air quotes, and then he goes to John and says, "Hey, they're not giving me invoices anymore, so I can't divide up how this money's going to work out." So John was like, "Okay, let's come up to a number then." And John accepts $100 every time he comes up and out of there. So what? If they basically make content over a span of a weekend, John makes $100 a day or $200 over the weekend. If he does it every weekend, what's that? $800 a month? That's not being handsomely paid, given the amount of content that Phil is putting up and how much, you know what I'm saying, and how much money he's going to make off of it. Because he cut all of those videos up with John into 10 or 15-minute segments too. He's not putting the whole stream out there. So who knows what kind of money he made off of John. And even if it was $800, that's not compensation. That's not compensation at all. Think about it this way. If John says, "Give me $100 every time I come out here," how much was John making before that? That's the question no one really brings up. And I like to think that I've brought it up before. How much money was John really getting when they were having this 50-50 split? I want you guys to really think about that for a minute, chat. How much money was he really making if he was only willing to take $100? And what was John's reasoning behind that too? Oh, I need some, I'm doing it so, wear and tear on the car and I can get a meal. So $100, back $100 to him, he thought it was worthwhile or fair even. Well, then, like I said, that makes me wonder what John was really making each and every month. It really makes me wonder. Yeah. Howard was big mad about that. You're very right, Pounder. Like, Howard was really mad about that, them pulling up to his house and seeing the new BMW out front and shit and all these fucking statues and all this dumb crap. But you can't, you're not paying any money out to your friends or anything. You're not paying any money out to respect the pack or whatever the case may be. And whatever you may think of what their work was back then, think about what it is. It must have meant something to Phil back then, and he was certainly profiting off of it, given all the money that he put into it. On top of, he already had other than the next season planned out in his head. He may have even written some of it down. So whatever it was, it must have been lucrative enough if Phil was willing to throw his time into it, clearly. I believe that too. Like, I mean, and it makes, I mean, granted, that's probably the crutch of their whole friendship, is that John doesn't come across as a selfish person, right? That John was willing to he's helping a friend out. And so he was willing to take all the bullshit and everything else that came with it because, you know what, he's helping Phil out. And that right there is the problem. It's the problem not just for John, but for anybody. They immediately put themselves before Phil, and Phil picks up on that and makes sure that he keeps himself in a situation where they always have to keep doing it. And that's the fucking problem. You know what I mean? That's the fucking problem. Even as a friendship. Here, let me give you a great example. Just recently, that rant that we were talking about. Phil says, he says, I'm trying to respect you people. I'm trying to be honest with you people. No, that's a different rant. Same. It's in the same video, but let me go back a little bit. He says that you guys are mad because you're coming over to YouTube from Twitch, and you guys feel like you're not getting the same perks that you were getting over on Twitch. Well, but you guys understand that I had to leave Twitch because Twitch fucked me over. And for whatever reason, you guys are thinking this is supposed to be a 1-for-1 type arrangement, and it's not like that. Let me give you the piggy translation. 1-for-1 transaction really means a give or take type relationship. That's what he actually means when he says that, right? And Phil is not about doing that. He's not about giving up anything to get something. Even with the hats and the vests and all that bullshit. It's just him sitting there talking just for the sake of doing so, right? It's stuff that he's already going to do anyway. He just wants to be compensated for it. That's why the whole vest streak shit, not the vest streak, that's the reason why this whole membership thing is nonsense. He's trying to shore up the money for his YouTube paycheck, right? At the same time, he knows Catherine's birthday is Sunday. If he can do the marathon or the begathon or the fundraiser, whatever the fuck you want to call it, on Saturday, he's guaranteed to get all the money needed that he wants to spend on Catherine on Sunday, more or less. And that's what he's mad about, because he even said it in that rant. Hey, I already had the marathon planned out in my head. I already had it all set up, feasting with the king and all that bullshit, right? He had it already planned out. That's why he was okay with taking Sunday off, because he was going to bleed them on Monday. He was going to bleed them Saturday. He has the goal, right? He has the goal set up for the August August reward, whatever you want to call it, or for the August marathon. So bam, the YouTube paycheck's taken care of. Then he bleeds them on Saturday for the actual marathon, and then he has them paying for his second day off. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, you guys aren't stupid. You guys already know that these marathons and these fundraisers are going to be a regular thing, clearly. Unless he can get back on Twitch. So this is going to be a regular situation. So if he's going to have to take a second day off, there has to be a marathon somewhere. The membership goal has to get hit, and there has to be a marathon to compensate him, if you will, for the day off. It's the only way it's going to work. It's the only way it's going to work. Yes, he did. He actually did say that about Patreon. You're absolutely right. And I can't, those Patreon and his Patreon perks and all that bullshit must be 2017, 2018. He hasn't touched that shit in years. But yet people still, I think people who give him money over there is similar to Spoonie. It's people who are already part of like a reoccurring charge, and they just don't even think about it. It's just whatever. It's just whatever. He doesn't even shout them out anymore. And he says that, oh, I can't do it because I don't have editing software. I can do that in OBS. I can do a crawl in OBS. For any of you guys remember my earlier videos when I used to have names scrolling across the bottom, I did that in OBS. So he doesn't have to edit that in. I don't think he's. I don't know if he's dropping any calories when he's begging, to be honest. He's just doing a great job of stacking the deck against himself, which is one of the more interesting. One of the more interesting aspects of Darksydephil is he's very, very good at making people want to hate him. He's amazing at it. Like, he's fucking amazing at it. I've never met someone who goes out of their way to piss people off. It doesn't seem fathomable in a lot of ways, honestly, I don't get it. It's weird. It's not even weird. I can't fathom it. Yeah, he can shout him out on the pre-stream, but he's not going to do that. He could do it, but he won't. Yeah, he always yeah, absolutely, Red. He's constantly lining himself up. And why? Like, why go out of your way to do that? Like, think about the whole situation. He had a rant, right, just the other day or some shit, right, about how he can't get sponsorships, he can't get partnerships. We've all heard it, because on his pre-streams he cries about that bullshit. No one told you about shitting on people who you consider shills. No one told you to talk about the chosen few, the golden children, if you will, or whatever, who are so loved and respected or whatever. He's the one who went out of his way of doing that shit. For what? For what? Those opportunities were available to you. Some of them he even took back in the day. So why would you shit on someone else for getting it? Because he's not making the money they're making. Let me give you guys an example, since we talk about lore over here anyway. The bounty board, or the bounty system on Twitch. Let's cut the bullshit for a minute. The narrative now is that, and it has been with Phil for a while, is that he got blacklisted from that situation. He didn't get blacklisted, ladies and gentlemen. He stopped doing it because the restreamers were really coming out in force on him. And the more people Phil can get on stream, the more money he can make per hour. That's what it comes down to. And the restreamers were beating him out. But that's not the only thing. I can't remember the name of the streamer. But I did a video on this, though. But I can't remember the name of the streamer. But they leaked their bounty board. And they had Street Fighter V up there, $4,000 an hour. They had another game up there, like $2,200. They had another game up there, and I don't know, let's say $7,000, whatever the case may be. Phil saw that. He had to have seen it on Twitter because it was all over Detractor Twitter, and it was all over Kiwi Farms. And I think Phil realized people are making real money out there. So he was sitting here chasing this $100 here, $200 there, and there was real money to be made. And he realized this isn't going to work out for me. And then he was also like, the detractors are going to fuck me over. Now, his reasoning recently was the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. He says that's when he got fucked over. That's not true. He got the publisher who really took heat was the people who made Elo Hell. That was the very first sponsored stream he did. Those were the people who went to Twitch and was like, yeah, we don't want any association with this guy. We don't want none of that. So just go ahead and remove, whenever we publish a game or whatever, and you put on the bounty board, we don't want him to be associated with it. It was them who said that, not the creators of Assassin's Creed. And the reason why Assassin's Creed chaps his ass, and if any of you guys remember, you know what I'm talking about, I want that Maximilian. What happened was he was playing Assassin's Creed the week before it came up on the bounty board, and he was talking hot. At first he enjoyed it, and then he started talking hot shit as the viewership was slipping. He said certain mechanics weren't fun. He didn't like how the combat system worked, so on and so forth. Then the bounty system came up, and then all of a sudden he has glowing reviews, and he got called out by his own chat. Yeah, I'm sure he probably did. Oh, well, did he talk crap about the publishers for Elo Hell? I don't remember. I don't remember because that blew up heavy on Twitter. Like Twitter was like all over that, or at least detractor Twitter was all over that shit with the Elo Hell situation. So I'm not sure. I'm sure it's in a pre-stream somewhere. What happened to the winner of Evo 2005? They're probably one of the gods in Japan. I'm sure. Absolutely. Because I can't think of his name at the moment, but back when Super Battle Opera or SBO was a thing, you got to understand that whole tournament in Japan, because you can't have like a winner's purse in Japan as it pertains to those type of games. It's all about clout, essentially. And that person's probably was probably really getting shit over when it comes to some of the games for that particular tournament. So, they came over Japan has always been known to come over here and essentially get free money, especially back in Phil's day. For a long time, Japan had the advantage because, one, people weren't utilizing YouTube to get that tournament footage, and if you were fortunate enough to get tournament footage of what's going on overseas, it probably wasn't of the best quality. And what do you do with that? You can't really analyze it like you do now. You know what I'm saying? You can find some of that old footage on YouTube. It's grainy as shit. Let me give you a great example. Go back to Justin Wong and Daigo, that Evo 37 moment with the parrying between Chun-Li and Ken. The original footage of that is awful. It's awful, but the hype is fucking real. The hype is fucking real. Like I said, I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. You could be right. But like I said, so that was the advantage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like back in Phil's day, let's take Marvel 2, for example, because Phil keeps talking about he was good at Marvel 2. Each region had its own crews, right? And everybody had a different playing style. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me give you another example. Like, if you're from Houston, you probably played Marvel 2 differently than guys from Dallas or from San Antonio. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think of it that way. And because there wasn't a way of sharing a lot of that footage, you're not going to get all that out there. So a lot of people just aren't going to know. So that's really what it really comes down to. You know what I'm saying? It's the inability to be able to get your hands on a lot of that footage or that information, which is the reason why for a lot of people SRK was a godsend. And DSP tried to figure out a way to fuck that up too, having the nerve to say that those guys from the West Coast, had all the advantages, and the East Coast guys just suffered. The website was open to everybody. Anybody could go on SRK, make an account, and talk about whatever the fuck they want to talk about. DSP was being a bitch because because the West Coast he feels that they had all the advantages. I mean, they had better arcades. They had more arcades, more or less, and whatnot. Their crews coordinated better. So, yeah, like I said, I'm not sure if that's the particular guy or not. And like I said, it was a shit tournament in 2005. So I guess you could say it doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it was a throwaway tournament anyway. It was a joke. It didn't mean anything. It just means something to him, and that's why people keep poking at it. Yeah, definitely free Marvel 2. I'm hoping that if this Marvel 2 movement works out, I hope CVS 2 is next. I really hope Capcom vs. SNK 2 is next. Because that's an amazing game, and it needs it needs a perfect online version. Well, not perfect, but you know what I'm saying? It needs a good online version. Are there any big East Coast guys? It depends. Do you mean you want me to start naming names, or do you care what game I speak of? Because if you don't really care about like what games they were playing, I can name off some East Coast guys for you for sure. And like I said, it depends on the game though. But if you just want to let's just talk about some of the people in the New York crew. You have IFC Yipes, for sure. You got his friend Chris Matrix. They have a podcast together. You got Long Island Joe. You have Dominion. You have You have Dominion. You have Alucard, who started off as a Smash player, I believe, and then he made his name in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He put in work. You have Sanford Kelly, you know what I'm saying, who's widely regarded as, at one time, he was considered like the heir apparent. He was like the prince without a crown, essentially. I mean, and that's just the name, just a few of like just the old heads that still kind of play here or there. The East Coast it wasn't like the East Coast was like, okay, let's think about it like the NBA, for example. Like when you think about like West Coast, right? You think about strong fundamentals, right? And you think on the East Coast, they're flashier dudes. You know what I'm saying? It was like that for like Marvel 2, for example. Like the East Coast were known for like the flashier combos, you know what I'm saying? Like the fucking silly setups and shit like that. And the West Coast were looked at as fundamentally just strong players. Like they were people who they got a hit and they maximized the damage. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the East Coast was at such a disadvantage. It just doesn't seem that way. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem that way. So I don't know. I'm not sure why he does that. He may be talking about his little spot in Connecticut, but the East Coast is bigger than Connecticut, last time I checked. So, I mean, he can make of that what he will. Keep rocking, baby. I love this shit. So that's really what it comes down to. Like, that's why that whole stupid bullshit about like East Coast haters or whatever that fucking little website he did. He thought he was trying to ride for a coast, but he wasn't. He really wasn't. Like Phil's name is still even back then, it was still a small name in a really big pond. You know what I'm saying? He was known for talking more shit than ever any of his competitive play. He wasn't that good. You know what I mean? He just wasn't that good. You see that now. I mean, don't be wrong, as time goes on, his abilities have diminished, but he just wasn't that good. I'm sorry. He just wasn't that good. He really wasn't. Go back and I think you can find it in a post somewhere, or you can find it on Twitter. But think about what Evil AJ said the first time he played him. And remember, Evil AJ used to be a fan of his. He used to watch Phil in a lot of his FGC content or whatever. First time he played Phil, or the first couple times, he said he was expecting better. He was expecting better. That Phil wasn't that good. And that's what a lot of those dudes back in the FGC days said. He wasn't that good. Let's say, for the sake of argument, because Phil Brunel's in the chat right now, let's say that Phil had talent. Okay, he didn't have the work ethic to perfect that talent, to push that talent along. So then what good is it? Hard work will almost always beat out natural, God-given talent. You know what I'm saying? Almost always. Phil is not a fucking great thinker. You know what? Cut the bullshit. Okay, fuck the bullshit now. Here's the situation with Phil. Phil can memorize a couple of patterns, right? And he knows some matchups. That's it. That's essentially it. He understands some patterns. He can maximize some decent damage in some of those patterns, right? In his flowcharty type game style. And he knows some matchups. That's it. And even then, that's not enough. You've seen him getting beaten out with characters that he believes shouldn't have beat him. Right? Pure and simple. Yes, he has beaten Justin. I can't take that away from him. He has beaten Justin. He has beaten some notable names. He didn't beat them when it counted. But yes, he took a couple of wins over Justin. At what? A qualifier? Good deal. Okay. He beat Justin at a qualifier. At a qualifier that Justin had probably already qualified for at another tournament anyway. But yes, he did beat Justin. He's beaten a couple of guys, like I said. He's beaten a couple of guys. But that's where his reputation comes from, is when he got beat up in real life, he didn't have nothing to say. He had his excuses. It wasn't like it just started with this online gameplay shit. Phil has always been like this. He's always been like this. He does actually. I'll give Phil some credit. He does have a basic understanding of how certain matchups go. Clearly, he doesn't know them all, But but he does have an understanding of how a matchup should go. The problem is and I've said this before, there's a disconnect between how he's playing the game and how he believes he's playing the game. There's a fundamental difference, and he just doesn't have it. He just doesn't have it. I'm sure he's he counterpicked the other night. If it was not last Friday, it was the Friday before against Zero. He tried counterpicking against them, and eventually he got beat. Razorfist said a long time. Wait a second, what? Razor said a long while ago that DSP had a solid Blanca. Blanca's just gimmicks anyway, though. Like, he's shenanigans. He's absolute fucking shenanigans. Now, don't be wrong. I'm not saying that doesn't make Blanca fun. I'm just saying that's what he is, though. He's just shenanigans. And the thing is about Blanca, or Blanca players, I should say, is there's a level of like creativity that comes with that. Because Blanca can hit you from so many different angles on some silly shit. Right? And that's what makes him fun. That's why he's like a fan favorite, right, if you will. But I mean, I've seen better Blancas though. I think we all have. There's certainly better Blancas out there. Yeah, he's very much the walking ATM. It's not just, well, it is just him being narcissistic as shit. It's also, he takes the little bit of information that he gets, or let's scratch that. He'll take the smallest accomplishment and try to blow it up into something that it's not. And it's just not worth it. It's just not fucking worth it at the end of the day. Like, everybody's going to take a loss. No matter how good you think you are, everybody's going to take a loss. Yeah, there you go. Like Evil AJ has a fucking amazing Blanca. His Blanca's fucking hilarious. Especially if you go back to, oh my gosh, I can't think of what version of Super Turbo that was. That's when you saw Evil AJ playing him consistently. Evil AJ was eating him. I still think Evil AJ wasn't playing at his best back then too. I still firmly believe that. I think Evil AJ was taking it easy on him because I think, what's the fun of beating up someone who can't really fight back? Now, don't be wrong. I'm not saying that Evil AJ was like consistently sandbagging against him. I'm just saying I don't think Evil AJ was playing to like his highest level. I think he saw where Phil's plateau was, or where Phil's ceiling was, and he was like, he's going to have to fight his way to me. I don't have to fight my way to him. And then Phil doesn't have very good reflexes and reactions anymore. I argue if he ever did. Was it okay? It was Ultra Street Fighter 2 on Switch? Yeah, like I don't think Phil's reactions are as good as he says they are. I'm sorry. I think in his head he's thinking about what the next response is, but he can't do it. You know what I mean? He just can't. Look at that fight last Friday. Like, just the Friday that just passed with him and Zero. He ended up getting hit with a turn punch. Phil did. He got hit with a turn punch, right? And then you could hear him. You heard him trying to put inputs in. It didn't work, and he opened himself up for the fucking super. Like, he's just doing really stupid shit that don't make no sense. I don't know if he's good at, like, I don't know if Low Tier God is like good at like Super Turbo. I don't think so. Third Strike, and I'd say Street Fighter 4, he was probably all right. And Street Fighter 5, it depends. Like, if you ever heard of Punisher, I'm not sure if you guys know who that is. Punisher is important to Low Tier God because that's the guy who beat Low Tier God like 51 or 52-0. Like, that shit was like all over Reddit and all kinds of other dumb shit. Low Tier God, if he has resources, he doesn't know how to use them properly. When he doesn't have any meter, when he doesn't have any V trigger, and he has to fight his way out of the corner, is when he's at his best. But when he has resources, he doesn't know how to utilize it, or he doesn't utilize it well enough to be able to capitalize. Yeah, his excuses is all he has now. Is 50-0. I thought it was like 51-0. Yeah, he's probably slightly above average. That probably is fair. That's probably fair. But for sure, I wouldn't say he's any real threat. Like I'd put money on Goji tanks 10 out of 10 times on third strike against low tier god that Goji tanks would beat him for sure. I'd put money on that. I'd put money on it, especially in a long set. I'd put money on it. Yeah, it's a shame that DSP never picked up Guilty Gear, because Guilty Gear is actually kind of fun. It's actually really fun, and even though it is casual friendly, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Clearly, it's not like we're all pro fighting game players here or anything. It's really, really fun, and I think it shows a lot of. It can help develop a lot of the fundamentals if you want to get into Guilty Gear, if not anything else. So it's a shame that he passed up on it. But Phil's a fucking idiot, though. And he has a bad history with Guilty Gear and the Guilty Gear community anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised that it carries on even to now. So I'm not surprised by that at all. As it pertains to a Detractor FCC, playing with your beliefs kind of wants to get something going with like Street Fighter V. I'd like to wait until the season is completely over and they bring out a completely finished version of Street Fighter V, and then that might be cool. Maybe we can do like a fight club or something like that. That would be kind of fun. It'd be like it doesn't even have to be weekly. It doesn't even have to be bi-weekly. It could be like a monthly thing where, like, I don't know, like on like a Friday night or like a Saturday or some shit. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of detractors can get together if they feel like it and just have some, and just play some games with, like, you know, with people in the audience. I think that'd be cool. Certainly. Or something for a Saturday. I think it'd be dope. What I haven't had a chance to talk to Playing With Your Beliefs yet about this, but the new Ninja Turtle game that's comes out in 2020. It's 4-player. I'd like to have like an event for that sometime soon. Or sometime, I don't know, like a race. Like I'll give you an example. Who can we pick up here? Like, I picked 3 of you guys out of the chat at random. Let's say you guys had the game. I picked 3 of you up at random and be like, hey, we're going to have a race against James the Lesser and his 3 guys. Or Agent Proper and 3 guys from the DIA. Or whoever. You know what I'm saying? Ann Leet and whoever he wants to bring. And we just have a race, you know, we have a race to see who can beat the game first. It's like it'll be a literal head-to-head 4v4, if you will, unless it ends up being more characters or they make it more than 4v4, and just do that. And it can be done for charity, it can be done for personal clout, it can be for whenever. 2022 is when it comes out. I'm sorry if I said 2020, my bad. But I think that would be cool. But like I said, we'll wait and see how the game works. But they're talking about putting Casey Jones and Splinter might actually be added to the roster, maybe. So we'll see. But I'm very, very hyped for that. But yeah, like a Street Fighter V type situation would probably be cool though. Like I said, I just like to wait till the finished game comes out because it'll be cheap, and I think people would be more interested in buying it at that point. Or it'd be cheaper, I should say. And there's a video that I want to go over. Maybe there could be a Detractor fight night, possibly. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. Why can't DSP play computer games? Because he's an idiot, and he's fucking lazy, and the guy thinks he needs like 2 or 3 fucking PCs to get it done, and he really don't. You know what I mean? Even at his current specs, they're still not too bad. He does need to change some components out. Clearly, he needs to update some shit, but his PC could run, I think, extremely well if he chose to do it. But he doesn't have the know-how. He would rather pay than learn, which has always been Darksydephil's problem. He would rather throw money at a problem instead of just learn. You know what I mean? For $1,200, for example, some of you guys could build a monster PC. It's gonna be fucking amazing for $1,200. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even less than that. You know what I mean? You just got to take the time, do the research, see what components, you know what I'm saying, are compatible, and components are being made these days to be compatible with everything as much as possible, and just get it all together. I can't trust that idiot to get the hardware aspect of it taken care of, let alone the software. So that's kind of what it comes down to. Phil would rather just throw a bunch of money at it instead of doing it himself. And when you do that, chat, then how are you going to upkeep? How are you going to be able to, how are you going to troubleshoot it if you know nothing about what's in your tower, what's in your build? Phil don't think about it like that. Oh no, you're right, System. I was just saying in general, like he doesn't understand hardware nor software. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter either which way. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even know where to go about with it. He wanted the damn thing to work right out of the box as if it was a console. And that's not the way to going about shit. Can Phil turn his life around at this point? You want? Well, of course I'm gonna give you my honest answer. Sorry, I'm thinking this over in my head. Can Phil really turn his life around at this point? Yes. To do that, he has to give this up. This online bullshit, all this has to go away. He has to look within, to be honest with you, and come to the realization. This is for him. I'm not saying as a whole, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying for him. This is a childish toy, and you need to put it away. It's time to grow the fuck up and be a man. And he's gonna have to go out there in that workforce. He's gonna deal with people who have a leg up on him, who are 20 years his junior, right? He's gonna have to learn. He's gonna have to relearn everything, essentially. That's for the best thing he could do in the long term. And he has to realize that this easy life that he fought so hard for, quote unquote, it wasn't worth fighting. He has to admit to himself, not to us. What he says is irrelevant. He has to admit to himself that he was wrong. This life, this whole gaming movement, all this shit, it wasn't meant for him because he wasn't willing to work hard for it. He didn't understand the business. He doesn't understand business in general, but he didn't understand the business of the gaming industry, of a content creator, of a streamer. He's a fraud. He lied to himself, and people carried him kicking and screaming to where he's at now, and he's suffering for it at the end. He has to admit that to himself, and he's not man enough to, because everything that you could say, quote unquote, he's ever built is predicated on what he has done. And someone actually, Moon, you actually brought up a good point. He has to let this ship, if you will, he has to let it sink, and he has to rebuild from the ground up. I don't think he's strong enough to do that. He can do it, but I don't think he's strong enough to. But he has to let this go. This has to be let go. There is no and I don't mean, ladies and gentlemen, come back and do it part-time or do part-time and then try to get a job. No, you got to let this go. You got to he has to walk away from this for like 3 to 5 years and actually do shit and get himself together and learn how he can only rely on himself, or at quote unquote, he can only rely on him, Catherine, and his family, whatever. It's weird calling that a family, but whatever. He has to learn how to be a man. And I don't think he can do that. I just don't think he can do it. And the thing is, and God forbid, because I'm not wishing anything on anybody, what happens when mommy and daddy pass away? I'm not talking about the inheritance. I'm not talking about any of that. I mean, what do you do then when that safety blanket's gone? You know what I'm saying? For any of you, I would hope for all of you, you still have your parents, or you still have a parent, right? But imagine not having that. Imagine you not having a parent. And for some of you, I assume for all of you, you still talk to your parents more than once a week. You know what I'm saying? You send your parents cards and shit. If you have a problem that you can't handle, even if you just need to talk to somebody about something, you can pick up the phone and call your parents. What happens when Phil doesn't have that? What happens when that support system is gone? Then what? Look at what happened when he lost John. What do you think is going to happen when he loses his parents? Then what? And that's something he's not ready for. Clearly, no one is. No one's ever ready to lose an adult or lose a parent. But yet again, life continues to move forward. What do you do when that happens? And these are the people that support him no matter what, constantly. What is he going to do then? And I don't think he doesn't have that figured out. And that's life. That's what real life is. How he keeps telling people that, oh, you guys don't understand how life works. That's how life works. One day you're going to have to come to that realization. And that's the thing that it's this underlying thing that people don't think about. One of Phil's biggest problems is abandonment issues. He's scared of people leaving him. He's quick to tell you guys, fuck you, chat. Get the fuck out of here, right? But when they actually leave, then what? I don't know if Phil can reboot. I mean, he would have to start over. He would he has to, it's a scorch and burn type situation. You got to start from square one. He has to. He literally has to. Because he's behind the ball on everything. He doesn't have the knowledge or the information, right? He doesn't have the work experience, right? He doesn't have the education. He doesn't have any of those things. He literally has to start from the ground up. He doesn't have the social skills, right? He's not someone who conveys his messages well. You know what I mean? And even though I think it's probably fair to say that he's a strong speaker, he's not believable. There's not a level of credence or credibility to him. Like when you hear Agent Proper, for example, when he says something to you, you believe him. You know what I'm saying? Like when he says something, I believe him. When Almighty Tevin says something, I believe him. When Theo says something, I believe him. You know what I'm saying? Phil doesn't have that type of credibility. And I don't even mean that from a detractor standpoint. I mean, there's just something about when Phil talks that there's something that always comes across. It just comes off wrong. I don't know how to say it properly, or I don't know how to convey it at the moment in a way that would make sense. There's just something about what he says that sounds off. It's what did LSB say? I think LSB said it was like when LSB talks, he comes across as someone that I believe. But what did LSB call it? It's double speak essentially. It's just double speak. Everything he says, I hear it, and then I'm hearing something else within that, and that automatically doesn't make it believable. And that's a terrible way of looking at anybody. You should never go through life assuming that people are going to lie to you, right? But Phil he lies as easily as people breathe. You know what I'm saying? And that's his problem. Yeah, very much. It's like a snake. That's kind of like, it feels like a snake that's slowly but surely slithering around your neck. You know what I mean? Well, System, you said, okay, right there, like his body language. That's the reason why his pre-streams is the reason why he has that, it's the reason why he has that slideshow. Because he doesn't want you to pick up on his body language. He doesn't want you to do that. And then when you see those little clips, you see it in Ann Leet videos where Phil is rocking back and forth obsessively and shit. Think about what he's saying as he's doing that rocking. And then that right there, you just put two and two together. Oh, yeah, it's definitely a habit, too. Yeah, there's nothing sincere about him. All right, later, man. Thanks for coming out. Okay, so when Phil says that I had to lie to you guys to protect my family, goes back to the initiative that Darksydephil needs an enemy. When he early on in his career, he was saying that I'm an underdog, right? And the world's against me, and I still found a way to make my way doing this, right? All the other people, they have legions of fans that are throwing all this money at them, and they have all this talent, and they know how to edit, and they have to do all those things, but I don't have any of those things. And yet I'm still here, and I'm still making content, and that's because of you guys. Yet again, it goes back to personal investment. It doesn't matter if in his head, I should say, it doesn't matter that he lies to you. It doesn't matter that he mistreats you. It doesn't matter. None of those things matter. You guys have been around him for a long time. You've seen his ups and downs, if you will. And so you just have to accept it. If you accept him, you have to accept everything that comes with it. It's a package deal, if you will. If I was, for example, let's say this Anime Gun, for example. If I was an asshole to you one day on stream and I told you, you know what? Fuck you. You don't need to be here. You're going to fuck off. Or, well, you'll probably come back and troll for a while and then you're going to fuck off, right? Because you don't need to, your time means something to you. You don't have to sit around and let anybody shit on you. Nowhere, you're another one. Same thing. If I went ahead and Sunspot Gallery, you're another one. If I came off at you like crazy one day, you guys don't have to sit here and put up with that shit. You owe me nothing. So you can just move along. If you're ever bored with the content, you just move along. For Phil, he can't have that. You know what I'm saying? If the content's boring, it's because I don't have any good games to play off, guys. Or you guys didn't give me enough money to get the high-end AAA release games or whatever. Or you guys didn't recommend enough good games. You know what I'm saying? He always stacks the deck in such a way to where it's never his fault. But in a lot of ways, it's always your fault. You didn't do everything you could to set the cards to my advantage so I could keep doing what I'm doing. I'm already here every day doing what I love, right? That's the narrative. But if things don't fuck off and work right, it's the game publisher's fault. It's all the big streamers who have all the advantages and early copies. It's the fucking detractors, trolls, haters, and critics that hate me and all this shit. And it's you guys who are in the chat, the pay pigs, the cult, that don't give me enough money. It's your fault. It's always going to be somebody else's fault. Any word on Jasper's health? Not that I've heard of. I doubt he was... I don't even know if that cat was sick. Well, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Sorry. If you guys remember a couple weeks back, because I just talked to Agent Proper about this. A couple weeks back, Phil was talking about how Jasper was throwing up a little more than usual, right? And I think it's because they were overfeeding him. But they were saying something about he was throwing up. That right there I think is an issue. This whole urinary tract infection and all this, I don't know if any of that's true or not. The fact that Phil divulged that the reason why Jasper got the urinary tract infection is because they weren't cleaning up his litter box properly raises some red flags. The same red flags on, well, is Catherine even really there? There's 2 litter boxes. Each one of you guys could do so. Phil has time, or Catherine, has time to clean a litter box every day. I'm sorry, that's not outside of their range. They can do this. So why aren't they doing it? And I think with the urinary tract infection, given how quickly the Seattle air magically cleared all that up, I'm starting to edge on the side of bullshit. I think he was throwing what he could at the wall to see what would happen. Oh, yeah, that's true. We always move the goalpost, right? It's funny how we always move the goalpost, but he always has a reason for his failures. Constantly, consistently. It was like let's look at something for a minute, because this is something I've been thinking about doing. You know how we break Phil's different periods of time, right? His life into arcs or into sagas, right? Well, what if we were able to break it down into that of detractors? So instead of calling it what's the word I'm looking for? Instead of calling it the escort saga, right? You would say, well, that's part of the Tevin arc. Or this saga right here with the Metal Gear Solid situation. Oh, that's the AJ arc. Or that's the AJ era. Evil AJ era. Or KWO era. Or SOK era. Or whatever, right? If you break the arcs down like that, and you see who the big bad was at that particular time, and if you really went back and tried to put the pieces together on how much influence they really had compared to the self-inflicted wounds DSP was putting on himself, you're going to find very quickly that DSP did the majority of the damage to himself. More so than anything. One of the reasons why Tevin's era is so fresh in people's mind, and for good reason, is because he fucked Tevin over. He fucked Tevin over hard. You know what I mean? Same thing with Snort. DSP tried to fuck Snort hard. getting multiple videos taken down, trying to get the channel, fucking with both of their channels. DSP was going out of his way to do these things. And so when, for example, when Tevin got knocked off of Twitch, well, Tevin and those two other fellows, when they got knocked off of Twitch, essentially within hours of each other, more or less, Tevin was like, well, okay, fuck it, I'm coming for you. I'm going to still do this streaming thing because Tevin still loves the streaming thing. But now you're going to be my focus. And I'm going to be at your neck every fucking time you go live, more or less. And that's what happened. And from doing that, that spawned other people to really start restreaming and getting into the whole thing. DSP made Tevin an even bigger detractor than Tevin was already. But Tevin himself and his motivation to keep going at Phil's neck is the reason why we hold him at we put him where we put him, if you will. If there's like a Mount Rushmore, if you will, of detractors, Tevin's at the top of it. Clearly. And Phil Phil has a hand in that in a way that I don't think Phil, even to this day, can even fathom, which is fucking amazing. Moving the shit post. I like that. Yes, that's right. Panda tried to do it too. She most certainly did. See, I don't know if Phil having a boogeyman. Well, here's the thing. Phil does have a boogeyman similar to the SOK, except for it's all in his own head now. Excuse me. It's all in his own head now. Or there you go. Tevin is his greatest boogeyman. Certainly. I think outside of, well, I don't know. It's hard to say because even somebody like Jackie Chan or even Slow Beef. Like Slow Beef really got under Phil's skin back in the day. If you really go back at that shit, he really, really got under Phil's skin. Like, you know what I mean? He really got under his skin. I was actually thinking about, I don't know, I might consider going into a podcast type format. We'll see. I've been kind of thinking about that over the last couple years, to be honest with you. I've been kind of thinking about it. Speaking of that, did any of you guys catch Medicare's last stream? Because him going into a podcast format makes sense, and I'm looking forward to it. But his last stream came off more as a goodbye than anything. Like I'm happy he's somewhat okay, but I feel like that's the last time we may get a Medicare stream from him, unless he decides to go back to videos or if he starts doing a podcast. Which, to be honest with you, Medicare doing a podcast is going to be just as informative and as lucrative, if you will, as anything else that he's ever done. So I kind of look forward to seeing how that works out. Yeah, Slow Beef was funny. Slow Beef was hella funny. But not just that. Because Slow Beef is also incredibly intelligent. And he comes across as such while coming across funny without coming across demeaning. But the big thing about the Slow Beef situation is Slow Beef was right. I didn't harm DSP. DSP was already in the gutter before he even got to him. That was one of the things that Slow Beef said that always stuck out to me. Is that DSP was already on a downward spiral before I even touched him. You know what I mean? It was one of those situations. And he was right. He was right when he said that. And even now, it proves the point. Did Tevin hasten DSP's downward spiral? No. Tevin just sat back and laughed at it. Tevin just sat back and laughed at it. And he brought more attention to it, I should say. You know? Tevin's name rings bells amongst larger YouTubers that you guys would be even surprised, even larger streamers, to be honest with you. I've seen Tevin's name be name dropped on Twitch streams, and people know who he is. Like, they know who Tevin is. So it's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. But I think it was all self-inflicted on DSP's part. And how's it going, Jesse? Yeah, that is more likely why he'll never change. Sadly. It's funny, too, because you think for this idea that every detractor out here is at his fucking throat and we all want to see him, die in a ditch or be homeless or all that shit. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna lie to none of y'all. I've said some absolutely brutal type shit about Phil. Absolutely. I've never wished death on that man. I've never wished death on that man because there's no coming back from that. If he hits rock bottom, he hits rock bottom. And I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh as he falls down each and every one of those rungs. But I've never wished death upon him. I've never even said, I hope he loses his home and he's homeless. Because he'll never be homeless. He'll just go back to Connecticut. See, that's the thing. And that some of these DSP fanboys don't get. Homeless means that you have no resources. You have nobody that can help you out. You are on your own. DSP doesn't have that. DSP does not have that. If DSP was losing his home tomorrow, he'd call his parents and his parents would fly him home. It's just the truth of the matter. DSP is never going to be destitute. DSP is never going to starve or go hungry. He doesn't know what that feels like. He has no clue what it's like to starve or to go hungry and figure out where his next meal was going to go. That's why that shit he said on Twitter last month was fucking ridiculous. You have $100 in your pocket. You went ahead and tried to spend it on breakfast, and then you didn't know where the rest of your meals were going to come from. You and Catherine didn't. That's the most ridiculous thing that anybody could say in a position of making 6 figures a year. But for Phil, he doesn't look at it like that. He's just like, all I have is $100. What am I supposed to do? Spread that out over a span of a couple days? Yeah, because most normal people have to. If most normal people are in a situation where money's kind of low, guess what? They do the best that they can. Phil don't know what that's like. He's never known what that's like. All of his bullshit struggle and all that nonsense comes from the fact that he's not as big as he feels that he should have been, or he doesn't get the recognition that he quote unquote used to. No, DSP certainly could not handle a Wings detractor. He's very lucky those people from the Whale Watch have not come for his neck. He's very, very lucky. He is fortunate as fuck that even half those guys haven't come over here. Because I've seen some of those guys work. They are not playing no games. And that's why it's understandable that Wings is the way he is. Exactly, breakfast. We complaining over fucking breakfast, dude. Get some fucking cereal and some milk. Get a Pop-Tart or something. Well, toaster strudel if you have it. I'll take a Pop-Tart, but I'd like a toaster strudel if I could. You know what I'm saying? Do that. And see, exactly, for most people, $100, dude, $100 can fill a refrigerator. It can fill a refrigerator easy. Easy. But then again, ladies and gentlemen, it's the same idiot who has food going bad in the refrigerator. So what are you going to do then? Well, dude, what do you want me to do? We bought fresh food, but then it went bad. So then why'd you buy fresh food then? You clearly don't look like you're eating any fruit, to be honest with you. The only time you buy vegetables is either for turkey burgers or for your fucking sauce. That's whatever that is. So what did you need fresh produce for anyway? Oatmeal. Phil don't know what oatmeal is. Did you not see what happened with that fucking ramen noodle shit? Could you imagine Phil making oatmeal? Can you imagine how difficult it would be for Phil to go ahead and take the oatmeal, rip it? Here, let's walk through the steps of that. He has to get a bowl from the cupboard, unless he's using like a paper bowl, like he's using a paper plate. Who could say? He's got to get a bowl from the cupboard. He has to get the oatmeal box. He has to put it on the counter. He has to open the oatmeal box. He has to choose what flavor of oatmeal. I'm such a dick. He has to choose the type of oatmeal that he wants. He has to rip the oatmeal open. He has to put it into the fucking bowl. He has to go over to his coffee maker. He has to get a cup. He has to put the cup in the coffee maker, hit the button so the water can heat up, and then bring that shit back to the oatmeal and then stir that water in. I don't even trust him to be able to put butter in there and then stir it in. You expect him to put that in the microwave? No. I don't even think Phil would even think about that. I don't even think Phil would think about that. Hell no. Yeah, it's true. It does depend on what you buy. But if you're getting like Quaker oatmeal, like the packets, like the flavor packets and shit, that shit's super easy, dude. And nothing hits harder, at least for me anyway. Well, there's a lot of things that hit harder, but I would say, dude, a cup of Snortbucks and a bowl of oatmeal. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 packets. One the apple, and the other one the maple brown sugar. You mix that shit together. Oh my god! And a little bit of butter. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And then a couple Snortbucks to go with that. Can't beat that shit. That's just delicious. Do I remember poorly cooking with the pig? Yes, I do. I most certainly do. Bugged oatmeal physics. Yes, I do. I do certainly remember that. I don't even know if Phil even knows what oatmeal is. I really don't. I don't have enough faith in him for that. Even in here, even with the boiled water thing, talk about boiled water, he can get an electric kettle and do that. I mean, it's not hard to put a pot of water on your fucking stove in like 5 minutes, especially if your stove is relatively not new, but if you've taken care of it. He should have moved to Texas. He should have moved to Texas. I'm surprised. I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised he didn't move to California, but I'm glad he didn't. Just because the cost of living, first off, but secondly, what's he going to do? He don't want to go anywhere. He don't want to do anything. If he thinks Seattle is the shit, just imagine that dude living in like LA or something. So if he can even afford it. But I don't even trust him to do something as easy as making oatmeal, let alone anything else. The heat would do him well, though. You're right. Texas is kind of hot, but the heat would do him well. But shit, it's not like the humidity that you get in fucking Vegas. But I think Texas would have been good for him, though. I'm not sure he knows how to use an oven. He probably... Well, actually, Jesse, you bring up a good point. What was that DSP tries it that he did? This was after Panda left him. And he was cooking something, and it was a pizza, like a deep dish pizza, that he put into the oven, and the damn thing wasn't cooked all the way. It was still doughy. So you're theoretically right. He doesn't know how to use an oven. It was, what was that? Oh, he's currently talking about the weather? Oh, shit. If he's currently streaming, dude, I'll let you guys go. Because I'm saying, I'm sure he's got a rant going on. Oh, Georgia's beautiful, dude. He shouldn't be. He don't need to be in Georgia. He don't need to be in Georgia. There's too many dark-skinned people out there. There's too many dark-skinned people out there. He don't want none of that. There's too many. He's not gonna want no parts of that. He's gonna want no parts of that. But like I said, it was like some type of oven baked pizza or whatever. It was super easy to make too. And he ended up, it didn't cook all the way through or some shit. And I've never actually had that happen. But I've heard people actually speak on it that sometimes they'll get like a frozen pizza and they'll add stuff to it, which you should. And sometimes that, like, as you get in towards the middle, it's still kind of doughy. I'm telling you though, that heat would help him though. To be honest with you, him being out there in Texas and actually taking in the culture and shit would be good for him. Like I say, heat is heat, bruh. At the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's sweating like a pig anyway. Who gives a shit? The heat would be good for him. Nah, I don't know if he knows. I honestly don't know if he knows how to use an oven properly. I know distinctly there was like a DSP tries it though where he messed a pizza up though. Certainly. Sadly, yeah. What's up? Oh boy. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So anyway, sorry. Let's get back to the. Sorry, I derailed for a minute. So like I said, we'll continue the Gout report. We will still go over lore. Like I said, we'll go over some FGC stuff, and I will occasionally stream over here. And then, like I said, I have the third channel where I've been streaming as of late. Yet again, him going to Florida probably wouldn't have been the best bet, to be honest with you. Because, and I talked about this on a stream before, Florida or Texas, you get Panda out there, you get a real dude who swooped that up, she thickens up, psh, she would have left Phil beforehand. She will, if she went to Florida, if they had gone to Florida or Texas, even Georgia, to be honest, Panda probably would have left him sooner than she actually did. I think so. I honestly think so. He changed the tips reward to $150 for a vest. You're lying. Are you serious? Oh, wow. So does that mean the hat goal is going to be now 200? Damn, that's going to be steep. Yeah, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd like it in Arizona. I really don't think he would. And definitely not all that snorting he does. With all that humidity? Hell no. Hell no. He ain't gonna make it through that. That'd have been rough. That'd have been fucking rough. Wow, that's stupid. Phil really did that dumb shit. Holy fuck. The hat is... Okay, wait a second. I'm sorry. So the hat is 100 and the vest is 150. This is... Who remembers me saying that when he brought that vest in, it was starting to come across like just dress up with Mr. Potato Head? Who remembers me saying that? Because that's literally what this is. You got the glasses, you got the vest, you got the hat. God damn, Phil. You're right. If the hat was 200, we'd probably never see it again. You're right. That's an absolutely fantastic point. As it pertains to the hat, though, he fucked up. When people said whatever they said about the Nazi hat or whatever the case may be, he should have rolled with it. Dude, you bought the hat because you were trying to emulate M. Bison, right? Or the dictator. So that's your stick. Just go with it. Yeah, he would get a lot of nosebleeds. He'd get a lot. I mean, don't be wrong. DSP is going to have respiratory problems in his upcoming years anyway. But yeah, him going out to Arizona, those nosebleeds would wow him out. They would wow him out. Members are 236, and the goal is only 260. What an idiot. What a fucking idiot. He should have just made the goal. He should have just left the goal at 275. He should have just left the goal at 275. He's a fucking idiot. Anyway, chat, like I said, thank you guys for coming out. We had a rough start initially, but we should be okay moving forward on this. Pepper's Farm remembers. You damn right he do. But thank you guys for coming out. I very much appreciate it. And like I said, I'll see you guys. Video should be coming out soon. And then, like I said, I'll see you for the occasional streams on this channel and on the main channel. And then on the third channel is where you actually catch me streaming. I try to stream like once a week at the very least. Yeah, he didn't like it. You're absolutely right. He didn't like his time in New York. He didn't like the traffic, which is funny because he don't really drive anyway. So, no gifted subs over here? Nah. And the thing is who knows when gifted memberships are going to be a thing? Who could say? Who can say? But with Dr. Loophole moving over here, or Dr. Loophole, sorry, with him making that move over, they're talking about Summit 1G and somebody else might be coming over here from Twitch too. So who could say what happens then? But they all have guaranteed contracts. Like they have guaranteed fucking contracts with YouTube. Something DSP will never get. So please take that in mind. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Devin Nash actually has a video where he talked about it a little bit. I didn't get a chance to finish the rest of it. But check that out and you'll see what I'm talking about. Because things are changing. Things are changing really, really fast. So, I mean, for DSP, it'll probably work out either which way because he's not important nor is he relevant. But things are changing. Tim the Tatman's coming over today? Oh shit, is he going to be on Dr. Disrespect stream? Because if that's the case, I want to check that out. Oh, wow. Wait a second. Tim the Tat... I'm sorry. I'll try to be fast and I'll let you guys go. Tim the Tatman has like that... He still has that NFL contract, right? Where he was able to actually like stream NFL games. So, I mean, I guess he could do that here on YouTube too, because you can see NFL games over here as well. So, I don't know. That might work out for Tim, or for Timmy Tenders. Maybe. I don't know. I look forward to that. All right, well, here. Real quick, you guys want to hear Lupe Fiasco or you guys want to hear Nas on the way out? Try to be fast about it. Thank you for that. 25 invisible porks up. Like I said, the first person I see, that's who I'm playing. Like I said, Nas or Lupe. And then, like I said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for coming out. I very much appreciate it, though. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I should probably be doing this. Bam. I don't think that changes much of anything. Let's see here. Let's see. Who we got? Nas wins. All right, guys. I will see you guys on the flip. Haven't heard Nas in a while? All right. I'll see you guys on the flip. Like I said, thank you guys for coming out. Later, people.
One city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Yeah. If Chappelle moved to Ghana to find his peace, then I'm rolling where the service always roaming. I'm packing my bags and going. It's a challenging act. It's a balancing act. Visit beautiful places, it's more out here than the trap. Houses in Long Island, they always found him. House in the South, a nigga barely got out. Sunny LA, remember calls with Dr. Dre. He told me, don't let the palm trees fool you, nigga, be safe. Me and my higher self, we often would speak. Somehow we lost the connection, might meet a Joshua tree. And it's been bothering me. Too many wavy women, gotta log out of IG. Can't be my age DMing, no kidding. It's hard to move like a civilian. I write the truth cause I live it, not like you musical niggas. We did it big and they bigots. They rather shoot than write tickets. What it feel like to go get it, what it feel like to go miss it. In one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody. Dog bought a plane, said let's go to Paris. That's where baguettes are from, French bread that's long and narrow. I like the other definition, rectangular carrots. The concept of the song is rather esoteric. This girl said in Grenada we should go get married. Broke the meaning down of the Virgin Mary. And you got your own place. My favorite part of the night when you text me that you made it home safe. I'm contemplating at the home base how I'm used to breakfast in the ghetto sipping OJ. That's a picture right there, a moment in time. Before anybody wanted a photo of mine. Before the internet energy and social decline destroyed the vibe, fooling us with the headlines, keeping us blind. Vultures eat you alive. Take heed to the signs. Wishing I find one city, one country, one state. Some place to be nobody. Some place to be. Some place you wouldn't know probably. Some place to be nobody.
All my time is spent focused on my freedom now. Why would I join them when I know that I can beat them now? They put their words on me and they can eat them now. That's probably why they keep on telling me I'm needed now. They tried to box me out while taking what they want from me. I spent too many years living too uncomfortably, making room for people who didn't like the labor but wanted the spoils, greedy, selfish behavior. Now let me give it to you balanced and with clarity. I don't need to turn myself into a parody. I don't do the shit you do for popularity. They clearly didn't understand when I said I get out apparently. My awareness like Keanu in the Matrix. I'm saving souls and y'all complaining about my lateness. Now it's illegal for someone to walk in greatness. They want the same, but they don't take risks. Now the world will get to see its own reflection, and the anointed can pursue their own direction. And if you're wrong and you're too proud to hear correction, walk into the hole you dug yourself, fuck a projection. See me in my freedom taking all my land back. They said a lot against me thinking I just stand back. I got my legs beneath me, I got my hands back. A lot of people sabotaged, they couldn't stand that. I turned the other cheek, I took blow after blow. There's so much crisis in the world cause you reap what you sow. When you keep what you know is meant for someone else, the ditch you dig for them, you might just end up in yourself. I'm in the secret place, I keep a sacred space. They keep showing their hands, but keep hiding their face. If I'm a messenger, you block me, then you block the message. So aggressive, the world you made is what you're left with. Pride and ego over love and truth is fuck reckless. Y'all niggas got a death wish, the stupid leaves me breathless.
Some place to be. Yeah. Ain't ducking nothing. Just might have to build my own city where y'all need a real nigga passport to enter. Miss Hill, we ain't going nowhere. They gonna have to deal with us. Make them uncomfortable.